I think we got to go to our first topic, and we have Kyle on because he has posted some. I'm not even going to call them hot takes. I think they're like some concerns, some researched concerns about the Nintendo Switch and game cards, and also to a certain extent 3DS game cards and their longevity. And this kind of struck a chord with Jay and myself because we've basically, you might say, mortgaged the future to buy hundreds of these games. And now it was a sobering wake up call to read some of Kyle's posts. So, Kyle, do you want to
Mhm.
kind of lead us into the discussion here? What is the concern? How did you discover it? And what can we do about it?
I forget how I first stumbled upon this, but I've known for a little bit of time that 3DS. Well, actually, I didn't know 3DS, but Switch cards at least were flash memory, right? And flash memory is the exact same kind of memory that Nintendo just a couple generations before with the Nintendo Wii said, "Hey, yeah, don't store any of your games on on like a USB stick if you're using, that to hold your games, right?" And so I was wondering, hey, well, what changed between then and now? And there has been some advancements in flash technology, but ultimately it's still not going to last nearly as long as, say, ROM memory, like on our old games, spanning from like, the old Fairchild Channel F all the way up to, even the Nintendo DS.
Wow,
So,
Fairchild, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have a Fairchild.
No, I don't either. I'd love it, but yeah, those are hard to find.
I'm sorry. I just took everybody off topic because I was like, wait a minute, Fairchild. I was like, wait, I haven't seen one of those in forever.
Yeah, no
Back on
kidding.
topic.
Well, quick detour before we go back on topic. Fairchild semiconductors are still in business, so they still
Oh
exist.
wow,
There could be a channel F2, but anyways,
that's wishful thinking. Like, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for that one because I would love to see that in action.
yeah, it'll come out to compete with the Dreamcast too.
Never gonna happen.
No. So yeah, as this is as I was saying, for the topic though, ultimately flash memory decays and breaks down, right? And
Mhm.
how can they get around that for 3DS and Switch and also PlayStation Vita games as well, because
Yeah,
they're using the same tech.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
Because
is
what
it
they're
just
I was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, guys.
no, I was going to say, is it just a matter of compared to older technologies, like the time horizon is shorter, or is there kind of a technical reason where it's really truncated? Like, 5 years from now, I'm not going to be able to open up one of my Switch games, plug it in, and expect it to play.
to like short answer, yes. Long answer has some twists and turns.
What's the long answer?
That'll be the fun part. So the technology of your Switch games is not only different in the longevity of how long they'll last, but there's also something else that separates them from pretty much every other ROM cartridge that you've ever owned. It's kind of crazy, but long story cutting short a little bit, your Switch cartridges are not just read only.
Okay, this
What does
is
that
this is
mean?
That means they can be written to. And I'm
Didn't
not
see
talking
that
about
coming.
like, yeah. And this isn't just like, like a battery back saves. The actual data on the cartridge itself can be written to.
Huh.
so who would so what is writing to it? Like, is through the gameplay itself it's being written to, or
Every time you turn the game on, and I'm not sure exactly when this executes, it your system tells your cartridge to what's the command here? RD underscore self underscore refresh and RD underscore refresh underscore status. And I'm quoting from a post here from user Sokram on GBA Temp, and I can link this discussion if you guys want. Um, all Nintendo Switch cartridges support two special commands, known as, what I just listed, meant
Right.
to fix any possible degradation in the contents of the NAND memory during reflow, aka soldering. But it means that, as he continues, that a cartridge is, even though read only from the console facing port, still capable of reprogramming itself to fix its own errors using error correction algorithms whenever it is sent that command.
So basically, every time you put in a cartridge, it works like a reset.
Yeah,
Like if there was a clock, like so if Switch games have like a timer on it, like it's about to die, every time you pop it in, it resets that clock.
to an extent, yes.
Huh, that's disappointing. Oh,
It's kind of weird to think. Like, as we were kind of talking before in the Discord, normally, what is the ideal copy of a game that you can buy, right? Sealed in box.
right,
But for this generation, well, for the 3DS and Vita onward, for those kinds of cartridges, if you want a game that's going to last for years and years and years, it needs more love.
right. But this also means that if you have, can you imagine the amount of sealed games sitting on a shelf for over 15 years?
Oh
So
yeah,
they're basically dead in plastic.
yes.
Oh,
So there will be a time, within our lifetimes, I would say, where there will be a greater chance that a sealed Nintendo Switch, Nintendo 3DS, or PlayStation Vita game is dead because it has never been used. Rather, like more likely to be dead than it is alive. So what is that going to do to the sealed game ecosystem for those consoles?
well, once people figure it out, it's gonna work like any other, community. I mean, people will, well, you're gonna have those outliers too, where you will have the ones that are saying, no, this is a lie, or this is wrong, this will never happen, kind of thing. I mean, you have those people, but ultimately, I mean, once they stop popping up to the point where you can't change the narrative around them, it'll eventually collapse.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think.
How do you feel about this, Will? Because we've bought in heavy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I have to admit when the argument was first put out there, I was somewhat skeptical,
Right.
and in my sadness and depression, I actually turned to Chat GPT and I said, "Could this be true? You know, search the internet, tell me what you know." And it kind of disagreed, but it also didn't cite the situation as clearly as Kyle did here, with those 2 commands that are executed
Right.
when you put the game in. And then I think, we have the, evidence, Kyle, right? You actually experienced this with one of your was it a 3DS game that
Yep.
you talked about?
What game was
Which
it?
game was that?
It's ironically one of the games I actually bought brand new from a store. It was Persona Q,
Yeah,
and
that's I heard that that's the one that a lot of people are saying is the first to die.
oh,
Is
really?
Persona
I didn't
2.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently there's a huge narrative right now going around. I'm calling it a narrative, but everyone's been talking about it. There's Reddit threads talking about it. Everyone says that Persona Q is the one that's the first one to die.
Interesting. I also heard the Pokemon games, and so I'm
Yeah.
wondering maybe is it the quality of the NAND flash, or maybe it's the quantity. Like I know those are both RPGs. Maybe they have a lot more data
Mhm.
on them than some other games.
Yeah, I see. I have Persona Q limited edition sealed and on the shelf, and part of me
Uh-oh.
Uh
wants
oh.
to crack
Yeah.
it and see if it
You have
works or not.
you literally have nothing to lose now.
Yeah, but
Um.
see, I mean, until the bubble bursts, I mean, maybe I should just sell it
Wow.
and get some money for it before.
Yeah, you can try that before the I guess everyone figures it out. But I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's
Yeah, I
that's the
mean,
interesting question. Actually, is are these games going to be valued strictly as games, or are they going to be valued as sealed um, collectibles?
That's a really good question. But like I mean, I I feel like they're already valued as collectibles, right? Because you can kind of tell the way that certain games are being sold. Like certain, and I said this in a previous episode, is that they even create versions of the games that have different covers. So people are going to search for that cover, They're going to treat a lot of video games either like vinyl records or comic books. So we're kind of already there. If the games don't play, the market will probably there'll probably be a different kind of market that will open up where it will be a bunch of investors buying up games due to certain artwork or certain seal ability, because this will probably make the seal market like boom.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it completely though it upends what we all thought about the Switch was this was going to be the last hurrah of physical media. You know, if you
Right.
loved physical media, this was the console that you were going to collect for. You wanted to own everything because the future just wasn't going to give you that classic ability to just plug a game in and play. And I think what we're saying here is no, that's not true. Your love of physical media, it's dying on your shelf.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of weird too, because I remember when all right, do you remember when I sent you guys those photos of that big haul that I got from my friend's shop? I
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
remember I remember when I went there, he had a massive amount of Switch games. I mean, it was huge. It was actually bigger than every other, collection he had out there. He had so much Switch games, and I asked him, I said, "Dude, would you take any more Switch games?" He's like, "I can't because I have so much." And it makes me wonder if there's a lot of collectors, offloading this stuff.
Yeah, that could be a
I don't
question
know.
too. I was going to ask then. I guess it really what matters, and definitely more for a store than just a collector. I think because of the quantity of the product they have is the time frame of this whole thing.
Yeah. M- I don't even know. But remember, Will, I said that I'm wondering if there's ever going to be a time or a point in time where I don't think that Switch is going to be as popular as people say because there's just too much. And when I went to the store, I saw too much. It was a lot.
Well, yeah, and then you were saying that the people who want a game will have purchased it already, so there's not going to be
Right.
that like FOMO, that rush.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean it is kind of interesting. So, Kyle, you said that because of this, like you actually have like a ritual where you dedicate a day to just plugging in all of your physical media for the Switch, 3DS, Vita, stuff like that, starting it up to kind of ward off this decay.
Yeah, that just started this year. My wife has gone through all of our 3DS games. I still need to go through the Vita games, and I think we play our Switch games often enough that I don't think we have to really do that for Switch games yet. But given time, definitely will.
Yeah, I went through my 3DS collection. They're all pretty good. I was kind of scared about the Fire Emblem game, but that
Mm.
one works. Thank God, because I love that game. But I haven't gone through my Vita collection either. I have to go through that, like you suggest.
Yeah, this is going to hurt me because I mean I have a lot of sealed Switch games. Not not necessarily because I was like a shelf collector and I just wanted to cash in one day. It was because either I legitimately didn't have the time and they were things that I wanted to play like in my retirement, or I think I talked about this on the channel and on the podcast. Like I like to get the Steam version of a game and the Switch version. So the Switch is just my physical instance of the game, but I actually enjoy playing a lot of these types of games on the Steam Deck. So yeah, I could be in for a rude awakening, but at the same time, part of me is like when a game is sealed, it just hurts to unseal it, especially if it's a game I can play digitally on another platform.
I mean, you could run the gambit of just holding on to it and hoping that the market shifts into a more collector's market where it's, oh, we want more sealed stuff. You could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think when you're buying sealed games, when you're buying graded games, I mean, I think part of it is that you believe that this artifact of digital culture will work.
Hmm.
Like, I get that, okay, maybe you buy the $50,000 Wata Mario 3 or whatever, Super Mario 64, that whole scandal thing a couple years
Right.
ago. and you're buying it because, oh, you still have the great cardboard, the manual. Like it is more than just a digital artifact, but I still think that there is some people want to believe that what's in the box works. And as Kyle said, right, the previous media kind of guaranteed that. I fire up games that I haven't, say, like Super Famicom games, Genesis games, things that I haven't started in years, and they work.
Mm.
It's kind of scary that for these consoles, it may not work.
Yeah, well, it's that saying, like, a lot of things today aren't built to last. So a lot of the things that you buy 30 years ago are still playing and kicking strong, which is very shocking.
Now, Kyle, all you have to do is basically start the game, these commands execute, and then you're good to go, or do you have to play it for a certain period of time? How does this work?
So that detail is a bit more fuzzy. I believe you just need to start it up. I do think you do need to go beyond just plugging it in. I think you need to start it up, but I might be wrong on that. That's been our process so far with the 3DS games is not only starting them up to hopefully go through that refresh, but also to, of course, test to see as long as it is still working at the same time, right? See, with Persona Q, when I plug it into 3DS, it comes up. It's like, hey, you got Persona Q. And then you click A to start it up. And it's like, yep, your cartridge is broken.
Wow.
Like, not in those words, but you know what I mean.
So
Wow.
how frequently would one have to do this? Is this kind of like once a year type of thing for the games that you're not playing regularly?
Again, I wish I had the answer, but that is another thing that I think is just not known at this point. To me, it sounds like to me, I think once a year hopefully will be good enough. That's what I'm going with.
It's crazy because while it sounds like fun to like go through the hundreds of Switch games that we have, I know that for a lot of these, like I just don't have the time to play them all.
Mhm.
So just to open it and to start it up, like I'll want to play it and turn it off, start it up again. It's scary. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to go. I feel really really torn because I don't mind like if I'm buying a game secondhand. I actually I love a clean secondhand copy. Like that's the way to go. I don't feel any guilt playing it, but it still is like crisp and clean, looks good on the shelf. It's kind of hard to find. So I wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing to open these things up and do the once a year ritual. But then again, for some of them that are expensive, it's going to hurt cutting through that shrink wrap.
Mhm. So, if you want to look at it more optimistically, the manufacturer of the what they call it XROM, no extra ROM, sorry, Macronix has uh, they've said that this storage should last as long as 20 years at this crazy high temperature, 85 degrees Celsius. So that's really hot. So I don't know why they rated it for that, um, but whenever I read these kind of ratings from the manufacturer of the product that they're looking to sell, I always look at that as kind of the most optimistic. But at least as long as they're accurate, you should be getting hopefully about 20 years, without plugging anything in.
Well, that's true. I guess if I could retire in 15 years, which I can't, then, that could have been how I spent the first leg of my retirement, just plugging in all my flash memory games and refreshing them. Well, this is I think, a very important PSA out there. So I think those of us who've bought in heavily to this market, I think we need a strategy for this. And it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see what other reports come out. Like, what's the next game after Persona Q?